I just don't. And it actually, we talked about this before, like the fan that went hard at Caitlyn at the Connecticut Sun game in game 1 or 2, I can't remember. I watched pretty much every single one of Caitlyn's games early on because I am a fan. I do like good basketball. And of course, I wanted to see how she would do.
We're diving into a storm brewing in the WNBA, a story that has ignited reactions from fans, players, and analysts alike. Sue Bird, one of the league's most respected voices, has brought to light a serious issue shaking the WNBA's credibility and leadership under Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. At the heart of this controversy is Caitlin Clark, the rising superstar whose record-breaking season has been overshadowed by how the league has handled her. The backlash appears to stem from decisions made at the very top.
I just don't. And it actually, we talked about this before, like the fan that went hard at Caitlyn at the Connecticut Sun game in game 1 or 2, I can't remember, where there was an interaction where the fan almost got ejected. It's like, none of this is okay. And we never accept it. We never accept this on the men's side. Why is it okay in our league? Why is it, welcome to mainstream sports?
We'll dive into how Sue Bird's revelations and the WNBA's leadership decisions have exposed cracks in the league's foundation. Why was Caitlin Clark, who boosted viewership and attendance, treated in a way that left fans outraged? And what role does Commissioner Cathy Engelbert play in this unfolding drama? Get ready as we break down what this means for the future of the league. Before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go!
At this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music, like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry.
Commissioner Cathy Engelbert's recent public statements have caused a stir, sparking intense debates among WNBA fans and analysts. Her appearance on CNBC's Power Lunch drew significant backlash after she emphasized the importance of rivalry as a way to boost the sport's visibility. While intended to highlight the value of competition in sports, her remarks came across as tone-deaf, especially given the vitriol that players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have faced. The controversy deepened when Engelbert made a specific reference that left many questioning her approach.
One white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. It's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago.
The issue wasn't just Engelbert's statement, but its deeper implications. Critics, including soccer legend Megan Rapinoe, pointed out that the commissioner's focus on rivalries over player safety and well-being was a glaring misstep. On her podcast with Sue Bird, Rapinoe called out Engelbert for failing to shield players from the toxic and racist rhetoric circulating online and in stadiums. This criticism struck a chord with many who felt the WNBA's leadership prioritized marketing narratives over protecting its athletes.
We knew it was coming. This wasn't a surprise. And not just the comments that the commissioner made a few weeks ago, where she basically implied that the racial tension is good for business and invoking Magic and Bird. It's not good for business. It's never good for business. And sort of sidestep the question about racism and misogyny and hate that the players are receiving online, basically saying, like, don't go on social media, or, it's sort of not real.
Engelbert later issued an apology, stating, "I should have stated directly and unequivocally that hate speech is harmful." While it was an attempt to right the wrong, it fell flat for many players and fans who expected more decisive action. Instead, the apology underscored the growing disconnect between the league's leadership and its core responsibilities, player protection and integrity. This backlash didn't emerge in a vacuum. Analysts pointed out that Engelbert's leadership style has often favored marketable narratives over meaningful policies, a stance that has begun to erode trust. By publicly emphasizing rivalries, she inadvertently spotlighted the lack of concrete measures to address pressing concerns like player safety and respect, leaving many with the impression that profits took precedence over principles. When recently asked about the league's referee issues, Engelbert's response only added fuel to the fire.
Obviously, not every, they're humans, looking at technology, basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions.
The stakes for the WNBA couldn't be higher. With a player like Caitlin Clark driving viewership and energizing the fan base, Engelbert's leadership risks undermining these hard-won gains. Fans and players alike are questioning whether this focus on rivalries is a distraction from addressing the league's most pressing issues. How do these decisions impact one of the WNBA's most pivotal players? And can this leadership approach truly sustain the league's momentum? If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We appreciate you taking the time to watch. Now, back to the action.
Coming out of college and going into the WNBA, we as WNBA players were having basketball conversations, and everybody just took it to another place where we were attacking them as people. And that's, again, where that petty and jealousy lives.
Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe's podcast episode, A Touch More, didn't hold back when addressing leadership within the WNBA. Bird, celebrated as one of the greatest players in the game, and Rapinoe, a vocal advocate for equality and social justice, tackled the alarming disconnect between league officials and the realities players face. Bird emphasized that Commissioner Engelbert's comments on CNBC about the value of rivalries missed the mark entirely. The real priority, Bird argued, should be protecting players and fans from toxic, racially charged attacks. She revealed that the environment had grown so hostile that players were beginning to feel unsafe both online and during games. Meanwhile, fans were unfairly generalized for actions that didn't represent the broader community.
There is one thing I want to reset, that we want to reset, and it's the language being used around fans. Fever fans, Caitlin fans, new fans. That actually has to go. That has to go. I understand why at times it's been used. It's kind of just when you're in an interview and you get asked a question, it's kind of easy to go, oh, the FIFA fan base.
Yeah,
what do you
mean by
fans.
that? That has to
Oh,
go.
these new fans. It has to go because it's not the FIFA fans. It's not Caitlin fans.
Rapinoe backed this up, criticizing the WNBA and its leadership for failing to shield players from the darker side of the league's sudden rise in popularity. Her critique highlighted a deeper issue. Leadership seemed more focused on public relations than on taking meaningful action. The podcast also exposed how certain leadership decisions had exacerbated divisions among fans. Bird expressed particular concern about how narratives fueled by unchecked commentary and rivalries were spilling over into real-world behavior, creating a hostile environment. However, the discussion wasn't just about identifying problems. Bird and Rapinoe called for proactive steps to address these issues. They urged the league to reassess its priorities, emphasizing that marketing alone wouldn't be enough to sustain the WNBA's growth. Meaningful actions, they argued, are essential to protect both players and fans while preserving the integrity of the game.
From the WNBA's perspective, the WNBA and the league office and Kathy's role specifically is basically to protect and shepherd the league, both from a business perspective, from a player welfare perspective, from a health and safety perspective, and from a growth and investment perspective. And this is where I feel like she's failed.
As Bird and Rapinoe dissected these leadership failures, one thing became undeniable: players were being asked to shoulder an unsustainable burden. Not only were they expected to perform at elite levels, but they were also left to defend themselves against online and in-person attacks, all while working to grow the game. This harsh reality, Bird suggested, is eroding trust within the WNBA community. The pressing question now is whether the league will heed these calls for change or persist on a path that risks jeopardizing its credibility and future growth.
I did not come out of college with the same level of popularity, scrutiny, all of it. Nobody has. Caitlin is one of one. There's zero doubt about that.
Caitlin Clark's debut season wasn't just impressive, it was historic. From record-breaking performances to clutch game winners, she brought an electrifying energy that captivated new audiences and reignited passion among longtime fans. Her impact was so profound that analysts coined it the Caitlin Clark effect, as ticket sales, TV ratings, and merchandise revenue soared. Yet, despite her undeniable influence, the league's response was puzzlingly subdued, leaving many to question its approach to celebrating one of its most pivotal players.
Caitlin continuing to impress and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record break.
The WNBA leadership's failure to fully embrace Caitlin Clark's success highlighted deeper issues within the league. Instead of using her historic season as a springboard to engage new fans and solidify its core base, leadership remained hesitant. Take, for example, the muted acknowledgement of Clark's accolades. The Rookie of the Year award, a moment that should have been a marquee celebration for the league, was handled with such restraint that it baffled both supporters and analysts alike.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
This lack of recognition wasn't just an oversight, it was a clear signal. It showed fans that the league's leadership might not fully understand how to harness the power of its brightest stars. The implications were stark. If a player like Caitlin Clark, who brought unprecedented excitement and viewership, wasn't celebrated to her full potential, what did that mean for the league's future? This failure to capitalize on Clark's impact raised serious questions about the league's ability to build on its momentum and grow the game in a sustainable way.
Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it.
The stakes are incredibly high for the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's breakout season was a golden opportunity, not just for her but for the entire league. Fans were eager to support her, and by extension, the sport itself. Yet, by failing to step up, leadership risked sending a message that could echo far beyond this season. How does this missed opportunity shape the future for other stars in the league? While leadership missteps and marketing blunders have drawn criticism, the core issues of inconsistent officiating and player safety have sparked even deeper frustration among players and fans. Clark's first season not only showcased her incredible skill but also highlighted the gaps in how the league ensures fairness and safety on the court. One viral moment that fans won't forget involved Clark receiving a technical foul for an interaction with the rim post, an incident that left many baffled by the league's rules and enforcement.
And Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard. And he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
But is this rule being consistently enforced across all players? Let's take a look at Diana Taurasi.
Carter nearly picks off the pass, and Diana Taurasi, they'll count the bucket. And one coming up for DT.
How come there was no foul in Taurasi's case? This incident wasn't an isolated one. Throughout the season, players, including Clark, experienced inconsistencies in officiating that altered the momentum and outcomes of games. These discrepancies sent mixed signals to both players and fans, with calls varying widely even within the same game. The inconsistency disrupted the flow of play and raised serious questions about the integrity of competition. Moreover, player safety has been a persistent concern, only becoming more pronounced with Clark's high-intensity style of play. The backlash wasn't limited to the players. Fans, who tuned in for clean, competitive games, found themselves frustrated by decisions that seemed arbitrary. This eroded trust and shifted the focus away from the excitement of the game toward the drama of inconsistent officiating. If the WNBA couldn't guarantee a fair and safe environment for its top players, what did that mean for the league's credibility and long-term growth?
So now it's the responsibility of the players to not only go play the damn game and to be great and to give everything that you know it takes, mind, body, soul, to be the best player that you possibly can. Now it's on them to ensure their own health and safety, their own player wellness, their own safe workplace, whether that is online, in stadiums, or otherwise. And I don't think that that's fair.
Caitlin Clark's standout season drew unprecedented attention, creating a unique opportunity for the WNBA to embed itself deeper into mainstream sports discussions. However, the visible misalignment between leadership's priorities and player advocacy raised doubts about whether the league could fully capitalize on this surge in popularity. If Engelbert and her team fail to pivot, the league risks not only losing the momentum generated by stars like Clark but also alienating the very community it seeks to engage. The stakes couldn't be higher. This moment is a test of whether the WNBA can reconcile its image as a progressive, player-first league with the realities of how it treats its athletes. Will leadership step up to address these challenges, or will these moments be remembered as missed opportunities?
It elevated television ratings, it elevated attendance, and it damn sure elevated franchise value. But now, something that y'all resisted talking about, opining about, acknowledging.
The conclusion reflects on what these events mean for the future of the league and the critical steps the WNBA must take to sustain growth and credibility. The WNBA finds itself at a crucial juncture. Caitlin Clark's remarkable debut season brought an influx of attention that could propel the league to new heights, but leadership missteps and overlooked player safety threatened to undermine this momentum. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's focus on marketing and rivalry-driven narratives has faced backlash for appearing detached from the core values that fans and players hold dear: safety, fairness, and genuine support. Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe's call for a course correction serves as a reminder that leadership in sports must prioritize more than just optics. The league must align its public image with on-court realities and reinforce its commitment to the athletes who dedicate their lives to the game. Players like Clark are not just stars, they are symbols of what the WNBA could become if the right decisions are made. To move forward, the WNBA must implement consistent officiating standards, prioritize player safety, and back up progressive rhetoric with decisive action. This is not just about maintaining fan interest, it's about upholding the trust and credibility essential for long-term success. The lessons from this season, painful as they might be, can serve as a turning point. The stakes are high. If the league adapts, it could solidify its position as a leader in women's sports, fostering an environment where talent is celebrated and safety is paramount. If it fails to address these issues, the risk is clear: a gradual erosion of trust that could cost the WNBA its hard-earned gains. The future hinges on how well the leadership listens, learns, and leads from this moment onward. The WNBA now stands at a crossroads, with a choice that will shape not just its present but its legacy. Which path will it take? Only time will tell. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.